in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio, the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. Well, part of building the business you need for the life that you want, part of the happy life is in the area of relationships. And especially if you are, we talk to a lot of mompreneurs, a lot of dadpreneurs, rebelpreneurs, solopreneurs, working from home, trying to manage life and business, and also manage their children. So this is something that's very important that we have to pay attention to so that we can be there and be present and have great relationships with everybody. You don't want to be the stereotypical business person that wins in business but loses in life. Today's expert is really going to help us wrap our minds and our hearts around this idea, specifically in dealing with your teenager. So if you have teens in your home or you have preteens that are on the way, then you are really going to get a lot out of my next guest. I am speaking with Dr. Beth Halbert. She is known as America's teenologist. She provides parenting and reparenting programs that helps families create stronger parent-teen bonds to improve communications, and she gives advice to volumes of parents and individuals on her website, drbeth.com, her social media channels, and her Ask Dr. Beth radio show. She is helping people to discover and appreciate their teen inside and out. She's been in this industry for over 25 years, helping to develop insights into what parents and teens and children need to build better relationships. Dr. Beth, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Thank you, Ralph. I'm so excited to talk with you and love the name of your show. We are kindred souls.
Well, that's good. I love anytime we can break the rules and do something a little bit better than what we were doing before by following the rules. I'm all for it. And so I appreciate that. And it's a real pleasure to have you on the show. You have been on a variety of media. You've been on PBS. You've got your own radio show. So you've got a lot of credentials and a lot of experience and expertise in the area of relationships. You've been called America's teenologist. Tell us a little bit more about how you got interested in this specific field of expertise. What's your story?
So I love teenagers because they tell the truth, even when it's politically incorrect. A lot of times. And so I'd rather know what somebody really has to say than them blow smoke up my skirt. And then I later find out that wasn't really what they meant.
Yeah.
So it feels safer to me to talk with a teenager that can tell it like it is than to talk to someone that is very polished. Mm-hmm. Then I'm not sure what I'm really dealing with. So this started when I was young, and I have always been extremely connected with people in relationship. I was seen as a psychologist as young as 8 years old, yeah. Where I was helping all the kids. And at one point in my life, when I came out to my mom and my dad, my world came crashing down. And I learned that I could not be me. And this is something that really I have a passion around a lot of other children that are not able to be themselves, and parents that feel like they failed their children if their children doesn't look good. So I am trying to create a safe space where all of us can be ourselves, be full out. And Ralph, you would have been one of my kids that I'd worked with. I call them the next world leader kids that do break the rules. And Did you get in trouble in high school and college?
No, actually, I have always been pretty mainstream in terms of following the rules. I just found I got better results when I broke the rules.
So you're like me, Ralph. We came into our teen years, our rule breaker later in life. Right. I was a good girl as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm working on is helping the teenagers do that rule breaking in a safe way, and helping the parents work with their children so that they don't lose their authentic voice. They don't lose their leadership. They don't lose their thinking for themselves just to please others and become a codependent.
Yeah. And that's kind of a big problem today, especially, I would imagine, teenagers are very susceptible. I'm trying to remember when I was a teenager, it seemed like 100 years ago.
Right.
But I grew up as a teenager before we had social media. We just had what they would call peer pressure. And now that's really amplified with social media and a lot of the stresses of modern life and society that teens really didn't have to face 25 years ago.
Right. Right. It's like having what we had on full screen TV 24/7, like the Truman Show. It's like everybody's on the Truman Show.
Yeah. So that's got to be a challenge of how do you find the authentic who you are? How do you break through all of that noise and really connect with who you are when you're so busy trying to keep up with everybody else?
Keep up with the Joneses, right? So one of the ways that one of the processes that I use is I call it the inner family, or in what it feels like a lot of times is an inner family zoo, where one voice is saying one thing and another voice is saying another thing, and it's hard to tease out who's talking and who's listening and who's on first and what's on second. And then when you get my inner family mixed in with your inner family as the parent of a teenager, you've got a full-on potential crisis, because a lot of times the adult has left the building and you have a parent that has flipped into their teenager, either drinking and smoking with the child or just completely checked out and say, do whatever you want. I can't control you anymore. Just, fly, be free. And the kids get on the street and get into big trouble. Or they are in a battle where no one is really listening and no one is really telling the truth.
So you're trying to help people find that middle ground between do whatever you want, live free, and just don't bother me, I'm checked out, versus, okay, I'll be your pal, I'll be your friend, and instead of your parent. Somebody has to be the adult, and we have to find the middle ground here.
And what most people think of when they think of the adult, I call the super perfectionistic 7-year-old, which is completely unrealistic and impossible to live up to. It's this voice in our head of this ideal that we have never achieved, but somehow we think our child could.
Yeah. So then the child becomes the psychological extension of our own ego. And instead of being their own person, we're trying to shape them in the image of who we want to be. And I guess that's
right.
The stereotype of the parents or the dad screaming at the kid in Little League, the hit the home run, and he's projecting his own inadequacies upon the child, and that's not healthy, is it?
Well, yes, and the children say to me, "Why don't you tell my dad to get on the, let him get on the court, let him try to play, stop living your life through me." Yeah. It is. It's definitely a fight. And what the children can see is our Achilles heel, and they just sting it. So one of the things I teach the parents, I have a power hour every Tuesday, and we talk about how to get back in your power and what is the gift of being triggered and how to own our own triggers. Like if I'm angry, that's on me. And I have the power to come out of that anger. If I'm sad, that's on me. If I feel disappointed in my child, that's on me.
So these are all our feelings that we have to learn how to deal with. So then it's really what you're saying then. It's not in the final analysis about the kid at all. It's about the parent. Right.
And it's also teaching the child how to make peace with, and I call the inner family, Ralph, is the little 3-year-old inner part wants to feel safe. And if we don't keep ourselves safe, you've heard about self-care and take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. If we don't take care of ourselves, there will be no one to take care of our children. And I hear so many parents that have gone to the point where they're exhausted, they're depleted, they have cancer, they're overworking, they're overwhelmed. They're toast. They have nothing left for their child. So when their child has a need, they're like, "Oh, you needy little thing, you little needy being. I want to just kill you. Let's duct tape you and put you in the closet."
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's the sad reality. And that's with the parents who actually are still engaged and still care enough to get stressed out. And then you've got the whole issue of children that are not being supervised at all, where we expect the education system to be, the teacher is supposed to be the parent, the social worker, the law enforcement officer, the nurse, the counselor, the psychologist, and the school system just cannot deal with that. They're not equipped. And furthermore, it's not their responsibility anyway.
And it is really a broken system. And many of the teachers are also flipped into their own inner team. Like they say to the parents, "It's your child, it's your problem. I don't care about kids anymore. Like, I'm just getting a paycheck." And they feel like they can't win. They don't feel safe in their own bodies. They're afraid of the children having guns and hurting them. They don't feel like they can win as a teacher. So many of them have given up. And their own inner teens are so angry with the children, then they go at war with the kids. And then the kids take the teachers down. It's not pretty. It is a scary system the way it is set up right now. It's not set up in a win-win. It's set up in a win-lose. I'm okay, you're not.
Yeah, and in order for me to feel like I'm okay, I have to make sure that I'm projecting all of my inadequacies upon you. And so it's a vicious cycle that we've created. I guess then the question becomes, what do we need to do? I mean, what are some first steps?
Dr. Beth, what do we do?
Yeah.
It's a mess out there. So, Ralph, I would say the very, very first thing is to have a bucket load of compassion for yourself as the teacher, as the parent, as the child, as the husband, as the wife, as the boss. Like, when I can give myself a break, when I can have love and compassion for my big, angry, pissed off, frustrated, hurt, sad feelings, this is the eye of the needle. This is the way to begin the process. And I have a whole process that I call the 10 keys to compassion, COMPASSION. So I have a whole power hour and process that's based on this. I have music that I have created. The name of the game is compassion. So I have 19 songs that I've created on how to help people understand their emotions, hold their emotions so that they can then hold and understand their children's emotions.
Wow. And you are a national speaker, a facilitator, an educator. You've delivered over 200 parenting programs. You're the author of parenting articles and monthly compassionate parenting newsletter. So you have been in this space for quite some time. Would you say that things as a whole are improving? Are you seeing a difference? What's your take on the pulse of this whole space right now?
I would say we are on the verge of a beautiful breakdown.
What a great way to well, tell us what you mean by that.
I think we are about to implode, explode, and have a breakthrough. And if we don't listen to the children and listen to the kids and listen to ourselves, we will blow this party up. And it's not going to become safe for all of us. So I think that the sensitivity right now to this topic there's nothing that's more important than this topic of hearing and listening and understanding our children. And as long as we keep telling them what to think and telling them what to do, they are going to explode and show us where all of the holes are in our theories and our processes, which we as adults know are already there and pretending that aren't there.
Yeah, that's the thing that is so frustrating. It's like people starting over from scratch as if there are there's no previous experience, there's no learned history. It's like we've never done this before, and so we're just kind of feeling our way through something when actually there's lots of resources available, all the resources that you make available to people to educate and to empower them so that they can actually learn how to have these relationships, because it's not something that you're just going to catch or that you're just going to learn by osmosis. It is actually a skill that can be learned, and therefore it can be taught, and you're somebody that can help them to get there.
And I would say, Ralph, I'm also just like you and every other adult on this planet. I'm also in my own journey. And I think part of the process is as long as we pretend to have it all together, the children will know that we are full of it.
Yeah, they can see right through that, can't they?
They can see right through. And we're like, our marriages are breaking down. We're tired. We're broke. We're overweight. We're not taking care of ourselves. We're blah, 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 wherever all of the adults are. Or if we do look perfect on the outside, there's a lot of pain on the inside with a lot of us. So I think it's naming the truth, which is why I did the keynote last Thursday in my pajamas. And the reason I showed up at a power hour yesterday in tears, because I actually role modeled for the parents. What do we do when we are in crisis, yet we're still responsible? And I told the parents yesterday, I said, I'm having some big feelings. I'm not in crisis. There's nothing that's happening. This is an inner thing that I'm going through. I promise you I will get to the other side of it. And I wanted to show up authentic and real. And if I didn't show up authentic and real, you guys could have seen through it. You might have made up that I was angry with you or mad at you or hurt because of something you guys are doing. This is a personal journey that's going on, and I've got this. Now, how do we utilize what I'm saying right now, and how do you utilize what you're hearing from me with your own children? And it was one of the most powerful power hours I've ever had, and I had a choice in the moment. Do I come to this power hour crying, authentic and real, which is where I was, and I could not fake it in that moment, or do I cancel it? And I chose to show up authentic and real. And after being authentic and real for about 5 minutes and naming it out loud, the feeling dissipated. The darkness that was gripping me in that moment started to dissipate. And this is what happens with energy and emotion. Feel those feelings and name them out. Name them out so you don't act out on somebody's head.
I love that. So you're being authentic. You're stepping into the moment instead of denial and excuses and all the other defense mechanisms that we tend to come up with
right.
to make ourselves look better than we really are. Connecting this to our listeners who are running their business. Authenticity in your marketing, authenticity in your advertising, not trying to be something that you're not, but having a message that is real and that makes a powerful connection with your audience. It's all about relationships, and this authenticity and being real and open and honest with people, that touches them on a level that you can't get otherwise.
And also, I can't trust your yes, Ralph, unless you have the safety and the freedom to tell me no.
Mm-hmm.
And in business with your employees, if you come across as this tyrant or this authoritarian or this, if you don't, I will, with threat and coercion and shaming and blaming and all the old game methods, you will be the last one in your business to know it's on fire and going down.
That is so true. That is so true. And then that's what people do. They step back. They say, well, okay, I'll just stand back and watch the whole thing blow up, and then we'll see where you're at. And what you're saying is that's
and you've been such a jerk. I can't wait to watch you go down in flames.
Right. And that's what's happening with our teens as well, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, someone listening to this and they're thinking, yeah, this resonates with me, but I like to give people like a 1, 2, or 3 step process to try to help them navigate out of where they are. Maybe something they can begin practicing right now. It's not going to replace education, empowerment, and getting the advice of experts, but is there something that someone can do right now to really create that authenticity or to create, at least begin to take steps towards improving their communication and their relationship with their parents, or parents and teacher relationship, or any relationship for that matter?
Yeah, I would say the very, very first step is to at least start listening to that politically incorrect voice in your head. Just at least start to make friends with. Stop denying that there is a part of you that gets angry. Stop denying that part that has something to say, and it's really a part of your growth, and it's a friend. It's not a foe. And with a real live teenager outside of our minds, when we listen to them and give them permission to say anything and everything, they will say it respectfully, just like our own inner selves. If we will listen, then we will have a more loving message. When we stop listening and you're now at 40 or 50 or 60 and your inner self has felt like you've been railroaded, and you finally listen to this voice, that voice may be very angry with you. So the very first step is to listen to all different parts of voices. Like, let's get curious instead of self-righteous.
I really love that, because I think one of the biggest challenges, people intellectually know, I should listen. But what happens is, just as we begin to listen, immediately we create a judgment or we open up our biography, as Stephen Covey would say. Well, when I was your age, this is the way it was, and blah, blah, blah. And that's not why they're opening up. They're not asking you to open your autobiography up to them. They just want to be heard and to be understood. But that's really hard to do without immediately jumping in with your judgment or with your opinion, isn't it?
And especially, yes. And especially if I haven't done it myself.
Right.
How do I let my child have their authentic voice when I don't let myself have an authentic voice? And I had a parent that put her teenager on Facebook, and her teen went ballistic. And so the teenager started putting the parent on Facebook. And even if it's in good form or in good light, it was not a permission.
Mm-hmm.
So when we can start to really care and love every aspect of ourselves and every aspect of each other, man, it's going to get messy. It's going to get dicey, but boy, is it a better way to live.
That makes a lot of sense. And I could see where it would take some practice, because the first knee-jerk response is to interrupt, to share opinion, to argue. What you're saying is we just have to learn first to listen to ourselves and be aware and acknowledge how we're feeling without judgment. And then that makes it easier for us to listen to other people without immediately passing judgment or shutting them down.
Yes, yes. And then my third step, which is my favorite question that I ask, and it can only be asked after step 1 and 2, is what is perfect and divine about this? Like, what is the gift in the pain? What is the gift in the wound? What is the gift in the hell that I have just experienced? Mm. And when I ask a question like, what is brilliant about me, or what is wonderful about me, my brain goes on a mission to find those answers, versus the question that we normally ask ourselves, what is wrong with me? What was I thinking? Why is my life always upside down? And our brain goes on mission to find those answers. Well, you're an idiot. Yeah. Well, you think things through. Well, you did it again. And so we answer the question that we ask. And this happens for our children as well. And one of the things that the kids say to me is, stop telling me what to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to do it. Tell my parent to please stop telling me to do my homework so I can do my homework.
But Dr. Beth, if I don't tell them when and where and how and why, they're not going to do it.
That is the story, and you get to be right, and I will put money on your righteousness. Yes, yes, yes. And I have seen and experienced for years and years and years the other game, and it is so counterintuitive to everything that has ever been done to us and everything that we've ever been taught. So it is walking off the cliff to play some of this new rebel way of doing life. And my book that I wrote is called Embracing Defiance, helping your child express their unique voice while keeping your sanity. And you can actually get that book for free on my website.
Wow, that sounds like a tremendous gift, and I'm really hooked and intrigued because of the whole opposite approach, and it goes contrary to the popular wisdom, which for me indicates if what we're doing isn't working, then we need to find a better way of approaching things. If you want superior results, you need a superior strategy. And that's going to be the case, whether it's a business, whether it's a life problem or a life relationship, whatever the case. Dr. Beth, you have a number of programs and resources available. Would you share your website with our listeners and just let everyone know how to get in touch with you and reach out to you?
Yes, it is drbeth.com, DRBETH. drbeth.com. And on my website, you can go to my YouTube channels. I have lots of free videos. I have a free book. I have a tab that says free stuff. I have a free webinar that is going to be on finding your story. And then that'll lead into, once I find it, I can own it, and then I can transform it and consciously create a new story.
Wow. So drbeth.com is where our listeners need to go to check that out, and also to grab that free award-winning book, Embracing Defiance. Very exciting. I'm actually encouraged that there is hope for our kids, and this has been really inspirational to have you on the show, Dr. Beth. Any final words of wisdom that you'd like to leave our listeners with as we close?
So one of the things I would say is be Ralph. One of the things you're doing, Ralph, is you let me shine and you asked brilliant questions. So I get to feel good. I get to bring my gift. If we can do what you're doing with our children, the world would be a better place.
Well, that is awesome. I appreciate that. And it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show and to get your perspective on this, because I think it just has so much potential. I keep saying that we are in a relationship economy. Everything is about relationships, business, life. And teenagers are just, they're little people, they're halfway between the child and the adult. And, we've got to learn how to communicate respectfully. We don't have to agree with everybody. It's not about that. It's about respect, and it's about listening without judgment. So these are really critical steps for life, for business, for every area. And I really appreciate you coming on the show, Dr. Beth. I've been speaking with Dr. Beth Halbert. She is America's teenologist and provides parenting and reparenting programs that helps families create stronger parent-teen bonds to improve communications. She gives advice to volumes of parents and individuals on her website, drbeth.com. Her award-winning book, Embracing Defiance. You can check that out and download a free copy of it at drbeth.com. So go check that out. Dr. Beth, it's been a real pleasure to have you on Rebelpreneur Radio. Thank you so much for the work that you are doing, and keep it up. I'm glad to know you.
Thank you so much, Ralph. Really appreciate working with you. Great interview. Thanks.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.